Hi guys, welcome back to GPFW. As promised, this is part 2 of the relegated players who are too good for the Championship. In the first part, we cover players such as Todd Cantwell, Max Aarons and Abdoulaye Doucouré. And in part 2 we look at 6 more players who are too good for the Championship. If you haven't checked out that video yet, go and have a look at it for the channel and I'll put a link to it down in the description. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe and ring the bell to get notifications for all the latest videos that are coming out very soon. This is relegated players who are too good for the Championship, part 2. First up we have Emmi Wendy, who plays for Norwich City. He's 23, he's played in midfield the whole season and he's been an absolute revelation. He's one of those players that have gone under the radar because Norwich has done so badly and of course has been relegated. But the 23-year-old has had 1 goal and 7 assists in a very weak Norwich team. He averages 2.3 tackles per game, he has 2.3 key passes and 2.8 dribbles per game as well. He's someone who is a hidden gem and someone who's going to be an absolute bargain who could go to pretty much any club outside the top 6 and even perhaps join up with the likes of an Arsenal or Tottenham, because he can create, he can tackle, he works hard and he has a lot of quality, so he's someone who's going to go far in the game, and at 23 he's only going to get better. Next on the list is Josh King, who plays for Bournemouth. Obviously he was a striker there. He has been a Premier League proven player ever since Bournemouth came into the Premier League. He has scored a lot of goals over the years and this year he had 6 goals and 4 assists, and that was in a very poor Bournemouth side and very poor season for them. So him to still performing to those numbers have been pretty decent. He has 1.2 key passes per game and he wins 2.3 aerials a game as well. So he's a big, strong, quick, tall centre forward, but at 28 he isn't looking to waste any more time. He's looking to get straight back into the big time, and he could be a great signing for a lot of teams who need a little bit more firepower up top. Maybe like some Southampton or Crystal Palace could do with someone like this to bolster their front line. Next on the list is Ben Godfrey, who's a centre back who plays for Norwich City. Again, Norwich had a very bad season and players have gone under the radar for how they performed. Obviously they conceded the most goals in the league, but Ben Godfrey is 22, he's English, he's young, tall centre back, decent on the ball, and he's better than this season has shown, and he's definitely got a high amount of potential. He has a high pass success of 87.9%, he wins 2.3 aerials per game and he has 4.9 clearances per 90 as well, because obviously Norwich are under so much pressure for a lot of their games. So at 22, he's got bags of potential, and he's a future Premier League player. Next on the list is Ismaila Sarr, who plays for Watford. The talented right winger has been one of their best players this year. You look at Watford did go down, and attacking wise they haven't been great, but at 22 he stood out as someone who has a lot of ability and pure pace and power, which is something that people pay good money for. 6 goals and 4 assists this year. Obviously 2 of a goal and assist coming against Liverpool at home when they beat him 3-0, and he took it on himself. He dribbled almost Liverpool half on his own, and then had the composure to chip Alisson shown. That really forced him into the mainstream, so we all know who he is now. There's been inconsistent at times in terms of his performances, but the talent is there and he's surely getting moved to any one of the teams in the Premier League. Maybe not the higher ends of Manchester City and Liverpool, but he could definitely make it at any other team, and for sure. Next on the list is Nathan Ake, who is obviously the centre back who plays for Bournemouth. Obviously today he's been linked with moving to Manchester City in a £41 million deal, and obviously I thought about this list a few days ago before this came about. There's rumours of it happening, but it seems to be relatively confirmed now in terms of the transfer going through. So it seems that Ake will be playing in the Premier League next season, which is why he's in the video. He's too good for the Championship, and he's going straight to the second best team in the league, and he's a left-footed centre-back. They're very rare to have, and they already have Laporte there. They've had defensive issues, and Ake can come in there and improve, because he's better than the likes of Otamendi and Stones, who do make a lot of mistakes. So a great move for Ake and great bargain for Manchester City. Last on the list is Gerard Deulofeu, who plays for Watford. Obviously he's an attacking winger, can play across the front line, and he had that great upbringing at Barcelona, so he has great technical ability, and he had a great spell at Everton before going to Milan, and then obviously he came to Watford and he's been there for a few seasons now. 4 goals and 5 assists this year. He's still only 26, so he has a lot of experience from La Liga to Serie A and now in the Premier League. So he's obviously too good to be in the Championship. He has a higher level than that. 1.6 key passes per game as well, and he just seems to be someone who can play anywhere really in the Premier League. I mean, he's good enough to be back up even at Liverpool. He's on that sort of Shaqiri level of play. It's similar to when Liverpool did sign Shaqiri from Stoke when they went down. He was their best player. They signed him for 12 million, whatever it was, and he's been a backup player ever since. He could go down that route, but he could be a starter for many Premier League clubs, especially bottom half and maybe even some of the top half as well. So that's a signing waiting to be made. I didn't include Ryan Fraser or Harry Wilson in this list because Ryan Fraser is already out of contract and likely to come to a Premier League club or somewhere else in another league. And Harry Wilson didn't count either because he's on loan from Liverpool. So I didn't count those two, but they would also be in this list as well. Players who are too good for the Championship list part 2. Obviously, let me know down in the comments. Out of these players, do you think these players are going to be straight back in the big time? Obviously, we've seen Nathan Ake. Do you see these players going back into the Premier League teams and even Premier League starting 11s? Would you want any of these players at your club? So let me know down below in the comments. As always, thanks for watching, stay safe, and I'll see you soon.